Hey, welcome back to my sort of series on building some furniture and furnishing our house with some simple rustic farmhouse style pieces. I'm trying to do as much of that as I can so that it all matches the same style and theme that we're trying to do. Last time we did the dining room table, which worked out great. We just had Thanksgiving dinner on it. And so today I'm going to work on some end tables for these two love seats. And I'm going to build them basically very similar to the side tables for the bedroom, just flipped. So right now we're using TV trays, which are about the same size as what I need. Obviously we don't want to use TV trays forever, so we're going to have be like 16 inches by 24. The drawer will come out this way, and it'll have a little cabinet underneath so you can store things like puzzles, games, blankets, whatever you want. And we'll have 4 of them, so there should be plenty of storage. And we can hide a lot of these cords, and it'll just clean it up really nice. So we are going to get started. I'm going to try and build all 4 of these at once. I haven't done that yet, so I'm just going to start laying out and cutting parts and see what happens. Let's go build some end tables. So I'm basically a beginning woodworker, I would say. I don't do this professionally. I've been just doing it most recently because out of necessity. And I'm trying to get my little shop area organized to make this more efficient. Every project I do becomes a little bit more easy. I got all my scaffolding that was on the back porch where we were doing all our staining and doing all these really long boards. Got that all tore down. It's kind of cold out now. It's winter time. Got that tore down and set up over here, and it's kind of what I intended to do with this scaffolding when I bought it as we were building the house, was eventually to do this, and that is put each one, there are 3, on its casters, and then I can have rolling assembly stations or workbenches. You can fit a surge protector right here perfectly, which is on the other side. So you can roll it around and have power, plug it into wherever you want. Put tools here. You can, put a second deck up on top. There's all kinds of flexibility. It's like an erector set. So I really like the idea of being able to move this stuff around and get stuff out of the way. For here, I'm going to take this one, scoot it over there. This is the wood we'll be using to build our end tables today. These are a bunch of 1x6s that I need to cut tabletops for. So we're going to use this as an assembly table. And the surge protector's back here. And I can just take this and plug it in to the wall. Lock down the casters, and now we have a work surface. All right, so I used to do all my designs in SketchUp and spend a whole bunch of time, laying everything out. Now I just do this. I have a bunch of little notepads, and I just do quick sketches, do some rough measurements, and figure it out. So we're going to do breadboarded ends, just like on the other side tables, breadboarded ends on the tabletops. 3 pieces center, 1 on each end. Going to cut them about 1/4 of an inch long the whole way around because I have to plane and joint, and we'll be taking material off until we get to that final dimension. So I need about 12, 13 1/4-ish pieces that will end up being 13 finished. So I set a saw stop up here, and we're going to buzz out 12 pieces so it butts up to here, hits the blade, cut, 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 cut. This is a little tabletop that I threw together when we lived at the trailer to set over top of one of those TV trays. TV tray is only about that wide, and I wanted it to be a bigger top to hold all the crap that I was using, because when I was at the trailer, this is pretty much where I stored all of my batteries for my camera, my charger, my hard drive, my laptop. This was my work area because we didn't have very much room at all. But now that we're here, I'm going to repurpose this and cut it and make the bottom of the cabinets for these side tables. And I can get 2 cabinet bottoms out of this one piece. So I'm going to knock these sides off and cut that. I just try to repurpose as much as I can because plywood's expensive, and this is 3/4 inch plywood. Not bad. Easy peasy. But actually, before I cut that board, I'm going to rip these into legs. Just a bunch of scrap 2x4s, going to rip them in half, end up with an 1.5 by 1.5 leg. I need 16 of those. And I want to do that so that I can sort of mock this up to make sure that that size will be right, get everything dry fit just so we're perfect. So I just ripped those 2x4s in half, and they are now 1 11/16 by 1 1/2. So a little wider this way than they are this way. So I'm going to run them through the planer and take off 1, 2, 3/16. That 3/4 inch piece of plywood that I was using for my old tabletop, cut down to the right size for 2 of the end tables to be the bottom of the carcass, like the bottom shelf where the cabinet is. I don't have any more plywood, but I did have some scrap poplar that I have had for probably 20 years. I bought a big batch of it from some guy that had pre-painted it a gross blue color for some reason, but now I'm planing it. I'm going to take the router table and buzz off about 1/16 of each side to edge joint that, and then when we put it together and glue it up, we're going to alternate the grain like that. That's already pretty nice, but it's too wide this way, so I need to bring it in so it's only 11. Because that's exactly, it's a little over 5.5 wide each, so I got to get each of those to 5.5. Here's the finished panels. Like I said, you'll never see this. This will be the bottom, but this is the bottom of what will be the cabinet. And this turned out really good. Edge jointing these, gluing them, and pocket holing them together, alternating so that you don't get cupping. Typically, I want to try to orient these where the growth rings are this way and this way and this way, so that you don't, if you do them all at the same with the crown up, then you're going to end up with a cupped panel. So alternate your boards. So next, I'm going to work on all the table tops. So we're going to have 3, and then breadboard ends like this. I'm going to build 4 of these, and I'm going to spend extra time on this because this is the part you're going to see the most and use the most. So first we'll run all these through the planer, get them all exact thickness. Then we'll edge joint these so that they are perfect, so that they can be pocket hole screwed and glued together, and then we'll sand it, get it ready for staining. I got to make 4 of them, so that's what we'll do now. Okay, I have my 4 tabletops laying here and some random parts that I have sort of laid out. This is all just sitting here. I'm basically designing this as I go. So I'm trying to lay this out, figure out how I want to build it, what looks the best, using parts that I have or lumber that I have to make parts. So this is a table that's flipped upside down with the legs, and this would be like the bottom shelf that would go here, with a 4-inch toe kick. Bottom of the cabinet, and then this would be the drawer front out of a 1x6 here. Kind of use some sort of a spacer spreader deal in between the drawer and the door, which will go here. And I'm trying to figure out right now the sides of this basically cabinet. Originally I was going to do tongue and groove boards, but I don't really have enough of those scraps left, and I want to save what I do have for another headboard, footboard project. So I might end up just making plywood panels, which might as well have just made a cabinet. But I think what I'm going to do is something like a 1x4 as an apron here, and then something like, I'm gonna rabbet this out on the bottom, put some plywood, and then do a bottom rail of maybe another 1x4 or something smaller. Anyway, I'm basically gonna make a panel, square it up, screw it into the legs, and then we'll have sides. We'll see what it looks like. There we got bottom rails. And we're just gonna do some glue. Total thickness here is going to be 3/4, so I don't have 3/4 inch brads. I don't really need to pin this. I'm just going to glue it, let it dry real good. Glue that. Glue this. Do a little bit here. Some here. All right. Good. Put that there. Put this here. Square up the ends. Fast forward quite a bit, actually. I went ahead and made a bunch of parts. You've seen me sand, stain, and poly for months. So I didn't want to bore you with that, but what I ended up doing was building all the parts I need for 4 different tables. And basically we have tabletop, which is finished. The back, all this is stained and finished. The bottom, 2 sides, which will give us a carcass with an open front so that we can then build and fit the drawer and the door. So, start off, we'll flip this tabletop upside down. And I have it marked where the corners are so that it's an even overhang. And we're going to take one of these sides, which are already drilled with the pocket holes, and we're going to do one of these numbers here and do this. So I have the 3 carcass sides just sitting here like this. I'm going to clamp these so that it will sit kind of tight. Then I'm going to screw all of this together, and we'll see what we end up with. Back is fastened to the sides now, and I'm using the bottom shelf, which typically will go here because this is upside down. I'm using the bottom shelf as a spacer so that this is perfectly square when I fasten all of these sides to the tabletop, which again is upside down. I'm not tightening it the whole way down yet because once you do, it starts to move everything, so we want to put a few screws in first, get them started, just to hold things. All right, got these fastened to the tabletop. Now these clamps are clamping this bottom of the carcass. Everything's squared up. Now I'm just going to put 4 screws in these. That is the first case, first table. Nice. And fast forwarding a little more, got all the carcasses put together for all 4 tables. Got a little mid-span spacer here, 11 inches wide. It's just a piece of scrap. We'll touch this up with some stain. overall that turned out pretty good. I got to stain this too. But now we're gonna measure and make 4 drawers and 4 doors. And that should be fun. All right, back to the pocket hole jig. Got my drawer parts all here. My last coat of poly is drying. It's still a little bit tacky, but I'm gonna start cutting making the holes and getting this prepped to build the drawers. I got 4 pieces here, plywood. It's like 4 5/8 tall by whatever the width is. And I did that so that it's about an inch shorter than the drawer fronts. Gives you a little bit of wiggle room if you need it. Here are the sides, here are the backs, here are the fronts. I'm not doing regular drawer boxes that's a complete box and then you attach a drawer front. The drawer front is part of the box. These are going to be inset. Don't really need to have a separate drawer front that traditionally would overlay a face frame. This is going to be inset between the 2 legs. Okay, super fast forward again to here they are finished. Built the drawer, put the front on, put the hardware on, put the slides on. Same as I did with the end tables for the bed. Didn't really want to show that again. If you haven't seen that, you can watch that video. I'll link to it below. The door is just a simple 1x12 board slab with some self-closing hinges, and it closes pretty slow. They're inexpensive hinges, so you can't really adjust the speed, but they work perfectly. And they're made for an inset door, just like that. Went ahead and made all 4 of them and got them set up. And now we don't have to use TV trays as a side table. I think the last project I have as far as major furniture pieces is I have to build 2 more beds, and I'd like to build a sofa table for behind that love seat. But beds, we've already done a bed video, but I want to do more of a step-by-step. If you want to build your own bed, here's how to do it step-by-step. And hopefully that'll be more valuable than an overview video like I did last time. So if you're interested in building your own rustic farmhouse bed with drawers underneath, stay tuned to the next video. We'll get that done, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.